Rivals, welcome to Back's Attacks. After the Wrack and Ruin 3 campaign, we got a very special reward, and that is the ancient Alandra. And so let's take a first look at her tonight. Being a lightning ancient, she's got the arc lightning on defense. The first spell, Purifying Bolt, doesn't do a whole lot by itself. It will kind of light up a target building, and after it goes down, nearby buildings will take a modest amount of damage, and a very small amount of health will be restored to the troops. This is very level dependent, so that won't do much at low levels, but it'll do a lot more at higher levels. The second spell, Lay on Hands, does some modest healing and dispels common debuffs. Now this spell, the second spell, is actually the very same as Aegis's second spell, which also heals and dispels a debuff, but it won't provide immunity. So if they get hit right after the spell is cast, they will can be affected by the debuff once again. The third spell summons 3 guardians, which are essentially paladins, and if the troops have been affected by the divine inspiration, that first spell, that will give them 35% increased damage for a good amount of time. And if we look at the stats of those guardians, they start out very small at 100 health, but up around level 6 or 7, they get up to about 200, 250 hit points and damage per second around 30. They do have a health aura, so with melee troops especially, or with other paladins in the mix, they can be pretty handy. So this is another spell that's going to be dependent on the level. So without any damage reduction, and with the only spell tower management, the second spell, Alandra is one that is going to be kind of a one that you may not use much at low levels, might be good at high levels, but you're maybe wondering, is it worth pumping the Primus into in order to level her up in the first place? And the question is still open on that. I'm not sure even after trying her out a bit, but we're going to take a look at how she is at the start today. But we do want to get some levels in here. Level 1 obviously isn't going to do anything. So we'll use some Lightning Primus we had saved up for her and get her up to about level 26, 27. Kind of a good medium one. And then we'll take a look at the spells here. The Purifying Bolt is now doing so more damage, 27 healing. That's okay. Lay on Hands, about 80 points of health. And then the third spell, Guardian Force, level 6 paladins, and the increased damage will last for about 10 seconds or so. So it looks like it could be effective, and actually we got to use her quite a bit in the recent individual event. We're using Alandra, gave a +1 bonus to the points on the score ladder. Alright, so we'll take a first look here. This is a Stronghold 14, but I don't see a flare tower. It's a little bit on the premature side. Should be a good test for an early attack over here. The spell towers have a pretty decent level, although fortunately for us, several of them are upgrading, and the dangerous fire tower is up away from the rest of them. So if we come in from the south, that Insanity Tower is going to be the only one that's going to be a concern. And when using Alandra, I do like to focus on melee troops. Although I do have a Mana Hunter in the mix, as I like to do, to get more mana for those higher level spells. Actually, looking at the top, there's no Insanity Tower to deal with if we come from that direction. And there's only one spell tower, the Flame, to deal with, and the path is actually pretty straightforward. They're going to cut right through those walls, so we'll avoid everything down bottom, come in straight from the top here, do a little distraction with the dragon, get most of our troops pumped up with the divine inspiration, and then as soon as we can, we'll get that third spell down. Stronghold might be down by then. Yep, that was a pretty quick one. Alright, so with between the debuff and the paladin and lots of mana here, the troops are going to clean up pretty nicely. So sometimes if you see an approach on a base that can get you to the stronghold quickly, that's beneficial and kind of will work with just about any ancient. Really, Alandra wasn't the one who won that, the troops did, just coming from a good angle. Alright, let's try a different one. And we'll go to player versus player. Want to start with a couple on the easier side and then work our way up if we can. So here's another Stronghold 13. There's a lot of free mana around though, and a lot of gold and things on the outside. There's no insanity to deal with either. So this one should be a reasonable one for us to try here. Now if we come in from the north or south, we're going to hit all 4 of the spell towers at once, so we're going to come in from one of the sides. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but I think we'll just come in from the right side here, away from the flame bolt tower. And we'll get a little extra mana with the soldiers and the dragon over here. And then we'll lay down the rest of the troops and funnel them in toward the core of the base. Alright, we use that first spell to do a little bit of damage, but mostly to charge up the troops. I don't like them with the cursed effect on, so that's why we use the dispel on that one. Alright, get some more guardians behind them. A little bit of extra healing, and those are going to be good to go. So at this point, I'm just trying out the different spells of Alandra. I don't have a great pattern yet. Basically, in the event, I tended to use her on a lot of player versus player, or bases that I knew were a little bit on the easier side. She's one of several ancients where I hope to come back for a later look after I've had more experience trying them. I think she's really interesting. I love the backstory and kind of just the character or the noble nature of Alandra, so it's really fun to have her fighting on your side if you're into that kind of backstory stuff. Alright, now this is a distinctly tougher base. This is a Stronghold 14. I'm just kind of curious how she's going to work against this. This looks pretty painful, actually. We've got Cursed Insanity on the bottom. The Flare of Flame and Freeze up top. This would be a kind of a standard bow tie design I would use on Jal almost surely for this type of base. But we'll just kind of see how she works. I definitely don't want to take on all of the 4 spell towers all at once, so we'll come in from one direction. And I usually come opposite the flare tower when it's centralized like that. So we'll bring the troops in here. Hopefully we can get a distraction with the dragon. Versus those 2 spell towers, the debuff is a little bit more useful than usual. And without that, again, the troops just melted away. So between the hard physical damage and the 2 different spell towers there, that was just too tough for us. So that would have been a base I think I could have taken out with several other ancients, but Alandra didn't really stand a chance on that one. Alright, this one should be more up to our current speed. Stronghold 13, some spell towers that are spread out. Not many walls to deal with. Just kind of reviewing the spells here. And we do have our paladin and melee heavy mix. Alright, so I think we're good to go on this one. And we'll come in from the side opposite the Insanity Tower, I think. And hopefully Malice will be able to distract that Flame Bolt Tower. If not, the troops are going to hurt a little bit, but we'll see. No, because of her range that she couldn't distract yet. I think we'll have enough healing with the paladins to be able to handle that, though. Fortunately, there's no curse tower nearby. So we'll get some distraction, get some guardians down. Now we just have to take a look if we need the debuff dispel, like that right there, or if more guardians for the stronghold there. Alright, so that worked pretty well, kind of playing that one by ear, and without a curse tower or a flare tower, Alandra was well suited for that base. Alright, so let's take a look at just one last attack here. We'll go again against a stronghold 13. This time there's a number of spell towers centralized. There's no cursed, which I find to be the toughest tower against Alandra and the one I most like to avoid. And coming in from the bottom, we'll be able to avoid most of those spell towers early. There's also some troop portals down low to get us some free mana on that. So we'll just come in from down here. Get divinely inspired. Key tip here with Alandra is to try to distract those spell towers as they're going to slow down or annoy your troops. So using the dragon to do that while you're still building up enough mana to get either a good debuff or to get the guardians going is a good thing to do. Alright, then just a mixture of more guardians and healing for the end here. And a pretty clean takeout. So it was a stronghold 14 with really just level 13 troops. Hitting other stronghold 13s tends to work most of the time. 14s tend to be tougher. Alright, let me just finish pointing out two other things that are coming up soon. The first is that we're about to start a new arena season just a few hours from now. The gold Alandra statue and the white eagle Chris, which is a special ascension material that can be used on either Forvale or Banemaw, are going to be the key prizes. We really don't know yet how difficult they will be. As I look at the leaderboard, I'm about 5,600 in honor, and that makes me 13,000 in rank. So you can tell a lot more folks have gone up quite a bit higher in honor, and the top people are now in the 7,000 range. So I have a feeling it's going to be much harder to get the top prizes than in the previous season. But that'll still be fun. I'm looking forward to that. The other thing I want to highlight is that there will be an individual tournament for a couple days this weekend, and the top prize will be something interesting with statues, but more information on that later. Thanks for watching. Hope you like Alandra, and if you have some good tips, please share them with me in the comments.